As we finish up our Social Media 101 class tonight, we are coming to Kirsten Wright, who is indeed somebody who teaches social media.
Yes.
She is the owner of Wright Creativity, and let's talk a little bit about the path to starting this kind of business. How did that come about?
Well, I started right out of school in, this same job most college kids get right out of school, sales.
Yeah.
Everybody starts there. And I figured out very quickly that I am horrible at sales, especially when it came to, even semi-lukewarm phone calls. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I kind of found my niche working for a woman who worked with Microsoft partners doing marketing, and she took me under her wing and really taught me everything there was to know about marketing. And that's when the whole social media craze took off. And so a lot of the clients and a lot of the partners wanted to learn about it, and so she kind of gave that realm to me. So fast forward about 2.5 years later, I was working for a different marketing firm, and unfortunately with the way the economy went, I was laid off. And so I sat down and went, okay, what do I do? I, at that point, had my Wright Creativity blog for about 1.5 years, and I went to my blog, I went to my readers, said, what do you think? And I got some great response of people that were looking for some help and assistance, and so I decided to take it onto myself and started my company.
So how long ago was that?
Just about 1.5 years ago.
Okay, so you were talking about how you got in this on sort of the ground floor.
Yeah.
How has it just seems to be moving so fast? How has social media changed in just the time that you've started your company?
It's amazing. I started in social media almost 3 years ago, when Twitter was just a little baby, and Oprah hadn't even found it yet. And in the beginning, it was very true. It was very natural. It was just normal conversations, and people were just trying to figure out how to use it and get something more out of it. And I think now the mainstream has really figured out how to capitalize on it. And so now we're backing up. We're going, okay, now that we can capitalize it, how do we do it the right way so we don't cannibalize our brands and we don't ruin what we've built?
Well, that's what I was going to say. So much, you think about all of these different kinds of things at Twitter and Facebook. They all started very small and almost kind of counterculture, and they've all been, for the better word, co-opted now in a very commercial way. And I guess that is the issue. How do you stay relevant to your audience and not look like you've sold out?
And I think the biggest thing that anyone, whether an individual using Twitter and Facebook and blogging, or you're a big business using it, is that you need to remember is that you're talking to other people. You're not talking B2B, you're talking person to person, and nobody wants to be sold to on a daily basis. So it's all about building those conversations while you're still able to stay true to your brand and figure out a way to then convert that into real business.
I mean, how do people do that? Is it possible to really convert it into a real business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For myself, my business is 100% built through social media, but I also have a lot of clients that I've worked with that have seen huge growths in their business, everything from real estate to restaurant to skincare to dentistry. If you have something of interest to talk about, there's an audience for it. You just have to find it.
Well, let's focus in on a particular business. You say dentistry. How does a dentist use social media to expand his or her practice?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that social media is great with is being able to localize your searches. So you can find and search for people specifically in a local area. So for a dentist, he wants people within about a 15-mile radius of his practice. So he can use Twitter and Facebook to search for those types of people to then connect with. And on Twitter, he talks about interesting changes in the dental profession. He shares great stories about, a guy who just got his braces off right before senior prom. Everybody can relate to something like that. And so he has those normal conversations, but then he happens to also love sailing. So he also talks about sailing and is connected with people because they love to sail as well. And so you build those real relationships, then you take them to networking events where you get to meet face to face, and all of a sudden you have a fabulous new client.
It's interesting that you said you're lousy at sales, but really successful salespeople are doing what you're saying. They're merely, creating relationships with people, and that's what you're specializing in now.
Well, I guess that's true. I wasn't good with the old types of sales. I'm good with, being a real person and then, turning that into a business.
So talk about your business. What kind of people are coming to you to try to figure out what to do?
Absolutely. I work with small to mid-sized businesses. On average, I do work with a few large corporations as well. But I teach them really how to use social media. A lot of people, the minute that they get on one of these networks, they want to just start talking about what they do. And I sell this, or I offer this service. And a lot of times you kind of have to retrain their mind to figure out how to be a real person again. And so that's what I do, is I come into a company and I help them kind of brand themselves in a social way that they can still see an ROI on, and that of course is adding more business to them.
Very good. And how do people find out more information about what you're doing?
Absolutely. My website is wrightcreativity.com, and all of my information is on there as well as on my blog, which is connected.
Of course, one would hope. Thanks so much for coming on tonight and talking to us about maybe making it a little less intimidating for us. Yes. And if you again missed her website or any of the websites we talked about, simply go to our website, cox3.com, click on the Cox Forum link, and that's where you can find all of the connections. You can also email us at forum@cox.com. And we invite you to join us next week as we take a look at public versus private education. Until then, thanks so much for joining us right here on Cox Forum tonight.